So, hello and welcome everyone to the newspaper analysis at Plutus IAS Academy, wherein we see important ideas which comes in Hindu and the Indian Express, and that can help you in your UPSC preparation if you are able to extract those ideas. And it would be better if you can make notes out of them so that you can use them in your mains examination, right? So let's start with the first article, which you can see on your screen, which is highlighting that there is a decrease in public expenditure, especially by the center government, which has happened, and the state public expenditure in healthcare has increased in the last 3 to 4 years. Right, there are certain data which have been given in this article, which we are going to study and see how the center expenditure on healthcare has decreased in the last 4 years, but the state's expenditure has increased. Right, at the same time हम ये भी देखने वाले हैं कि हमारे हेल्थ सेक्टर में क्या क्या challenges हैं. Right, why public health sector is important for a country like India, and how low public health expenditure hurt our country, right? ये भी हम चीज़ देखने वाले हैं, and we are also going to see some global comparisons related to the healthcare. मतलब इंडिया का healthcare किस level पे है on the global arena, how much expenditure government do, and also what can be the way forward in order to solve the problem of healthcare, right? So with that, let's start with the first article. So, as I mentioned, that in the recent 3 to 4 years, we have seen that during the COVID-19, the center health expenditure it increased, right? But after that, we are seeing that there is a decline in the health expenditure by the center. ऑल्सो जो पैसा शेयर किया जाता है बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ, वो भी देखने को मिलता है कि थोड़ा कम हो गया है. वी कैन सी दिस फ्रॉम these graphs which have been given. So if you will see the chart 2 which is there, and if we see that the center share of percent or the percent of GDP in the healthcare has declined from 2020 and 21 फाइनेंशियल साइकिल. आप देखेंगे कि 2020-21 के टाइम पे इट वाज अराउंड 0.42% ऑफ जीडीपी, राइट, और वो कहीं ना कहीं डिक्लाइन होकर 0.28% हो गया जीडीपी का. बट इफ यू विल सी द ब्लू लाइन विच इज ऑफ द स्टेट्स का कहीं ना कहीं जो पब्लिक हेल्थ एक्सपेंडिचर है वो इंक्रीज किया है कॉन्स्टेंटली बाय 2020, and it is around 0.96% of the GDP, right? So this is the thing. अगर हम global scenario की बात करें, you can see the chart 1 which is there. So you will see that how much a country spend. The chart compares India's per capita public expenditure on health with other countries. So if you will see, you can see that countries like China has one of the highest health expenditure. Just one second. Right, so and if you will see India's case, it is one of the lowest, right? We are even lower than countries of the South Asia such as Bhutan or Sri Lanka or other developing countries like Indonesia, Vietnam or Thailand, right? This is something which we have to work on. Many of the scholars in our country, they highlight that we have to increase our health expenditure. So this is the concerning thing which we have to focus on. All right, let's move forward and see why public health expenditure is important. So you must be aware of this fact that health expenditure or health and education are the foundational thing for any country's growth, right? कहीं ना कहीं health और education पे focus करना should be the primary goal for government, right? कहीं ना कहीं यही ऐसी चीजें हैं जो हमारे जो population है, it empowers them in real ways. If they want to contribute positively in our economy, then they should be healthy, right? हम अगर बात करें इंडिया के केस की, सो इफ वी सी द हेल्थ केयर इन इंडिया, द पब्लिक हेल्थ केयर इन इंडिया इज वर्चुअली प्राइवेट. What that means is, though public healthcare system is there, but the quality of it is not up to the mark. कहीं ना कहीं अगर किसी आदमी को या किसी इंसान को कोई बीमारी हो जाती है बड़ी, so उनको प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल्स में जाना ही पड़ता है because they provide better qualities. There are lack of infrastructure, lack of doctors in the public healthcare, which leads people to go to the private sector, right? This shows that our healthcare system is virtually private. कहीं ना कहीं प्राइवेट उस पर ज़्यादा डिपेंडेंट है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी आल्सो सी दैट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एक्सप्लॉइटेशन व्हिच हैपेंस ऑन द प्राइवेट हैंड. इसीलिए भी रिसेंटली सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने गवर्नमेंट को डायरेक्शन भी दिया दैट यू हैव टू रेगुलेट द the kind of manipulation which done by the private hospital, and the kind of dominance which they have, right? कहीं ना कहीं वो कुछ भी करते हैं when it comes to healthcare. So this is a concern thing. इसके अलावा अगर हम देखें, so इंडिया की हम बात करते हैं, इंडिया की जो डेमोग्राफी है इस समय पर, it is in a positive phase. That is, the majority of our population is in youthful stage. They are productive, they are dynamic, and they can definitely contribute in the nation's growth. But that can only happen if they are going to be healthy, if we are able to provide them better access to healthcare, right? This is also in that respect. So demography is another factor why, to use the demographic dividend, we have to spend more on our public health expenditure. So this is it. At the same time, अगर बिल्कुल बात करें तो इंडिया में, there are many reports which highlight the level of inequality which is prevalent, right? ऐसा बोला जाता है कि almost 33% of India's population lives in multidimensional poverty. मतलब they face multiple kinds of poverty, right? Not just related to income, but there are multiple aspects of poverty such as social stigma, such as access to resources, which definitely comes from income, the political participation. So, many of the people, almost 33%, lives under the multidimensional poverty as per multidimensional poverty index, right? So, in that respect, for those people, public healthcare sector is important, and government needs to make public expenditure more accessible to those people, right? So this is the thing. Apart from that, we also see certain regional imbalances. If you will see in India, there are some states which have a very good public health sector, such as Kerala or Himachal Pradesh or Tamil Nadu. But if we see certain states like Uttar Pradesh or Bihar, the status of healthcare is very dismal. और आप देखेंगे कि जो पब्लिक हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर होना चाहिए था, कंसीडरिंग द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ दी स्टेट्स, दैट इज नॉट अप टू द मार्क, एंड दैट लीड्स टू वेरियस challenges, right? So this is the thing. At the same time, ये भी देखा गया है कि if we want to empower the women in our country, right? So that's why public health care sector is important. आपको पता होगा कि there are certain reports which come in, which talks about the health status of the women. Right? There was the report by UNDP and also the NHFS survey 5. We talked about that almost 55% women in India are anemic. Right, they're facing anemia. इसका क्या मतलब होता है कि almost every second women in India have a shortage of blood. कहीं ना कहीं उनका जो हीमोग्लोबिन है उसकी कमी देखने को मिलता है, and they show the dismal condition of health of women in our country, right? को पता होगा, women are the one who are connected more to the next generation. They are the one responsible for the next generation. कहीं ना कहीं women का रोल ज़्यादा होता है जो हमारी youth population है उनका take care करने में, and also how they are going to be, in their future life. That's why focusing on health of women is an important part. अगर हम public health sector को improve करवाते हैं and specifically focusing on women's health, then definitely it is going to create a very positive impact on the future generation of our country, right? So this is the thing. That's why the public healthcare expenditure is important. But as we are seeing that it has declined in the last 3 years, this is a concerning trend which we are able to see. Now let's move forward, and we should also see what are the other, things which are there, which are related to the healthcare, which are challenging, right? So एक बात किया जाता है इंडिया में, because there is low public health expenditure, there is very high out of pocket expenditure. इसका मतलब क्या है? As I mentioned that there is a dominance of private sector. People are dependent on the private sector for their healthcare needs. So इस वजह से लोगों का जो हम उनका जो basically healthcare expenditure it's very high. ऐसा बोला जाता है almost 45% out of pocket expenditure हो जाता है लोगों का on the healthcare, and that leads to almost 1/5 of the poverty in India is because of this only. सब बोला जाता है कि इंडिया में जो 1/5 पॉवर्टी है वो आउट ऑफ पॉकेट एक्सपेंडिचर की वजह से होती है ऑन दी हेल्थ केयर, राइट? आपने डेफिनेटली किसी के बारे में सुना होगा इन योर फैमिली और रिलेटिव्स दैट in their family they faced a severe disease such as cancer or any cardiovascular disease, and they had to take loan for it, right? उनको लोन लेना पड़ा बहुत ज़्यादा, और कई बार इंडिविजुअल की उनको बचा भी नहीं पाते, and that causes a very stressful situation in the family, right? This is also a thing. We have already talked about the regional imbalance which is there. related to this. One another thing which is mentioned by health scholars, that we have to focus on our primary health care, right? आपको पता होगा कि primary health care is something which happens at a very initial stage of a disease, right? अगर हम disease को बहुत पहले stage में ही रोक ले तो शायद वो ज़्यादा बड़े हो ही ना, right? तो कहीं ना कहीं हमें कहीं ना देखा जाता है कि जो primary health care sector है उस पर भी कम expenditure होता है. So government has initiated schemes like Ayushman Bharat (PMJ). And those schemes is focused on the tertiary sector. मतलब किसी को अगर बीमारी हो जाती है, government is going to give a cover of 5 lakh rupees to the poor household. But if we would have focused more on primary healthcare, जैसे कि आपको दिल्ली में देखने को मिलता है, दिल्ली में when they improve the मोहल्ला clinics, राइट, जो कि लोगों की डे टू डे हेल्थ नीड्स को केटर करते हैं, कहीं ना कहीं ज़्यादा बड़ी बीमारियां होने के चांसेस कम हो जाते हैं, राइट? अगर उन मोहल्ला क्लिनिक्स में लोग जाकर अपना ब्लड टेस्ट करवा लेते हैं या फिर जो उनकी छोटी डिसीज है उनको ठीक करवा लेते हैं, तो डिसीज ऐसा हो सकता है ज़्यादा बड़ी हो ही ना, राइट? तो दैट्स वाई प्राइमरी हेल्थ केयर इज इंपॉर्टेंट. बट कहीं ना कहीं गवर्नमेंट का इसमें हमें कम फोकस देखने को मिलता है, विच इज ऑल्सो अ कंसर्निंग थिंग. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट देयर आर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर issues and also the number of doctors which are there, right? The trained professional which are there, that is definitely a concern, which also leads to another problem related to the quality of healthcare in our country. The quality of healthcare services which are given, especially in some of these states which we have mentioned earlier, is very dismal and is a thing on which we focus on in order to improve the healthcare sector in our country. Right. I hope ये article आपको समझ में आया होगा. This has given you certain insights related to the healthcare sector, and it becomes an important part of your GS paper 2 syllabus in the society section. At the same time, it is also important from the essay paper, because essay में भी काफी questions इससे पूछे जाते हैं, and you can obviously bring the aspect of healthcare in your analysis of any topic which happens related to social justice or society, right? So with that, let's move forward and see the next news. And this news is from the Science and Technology section. A new satellite is going to be launched by NASA and the ISRO jointly. The name of the satellite is NISAR, right? Basically, this satellite is going to be very significant for our country, because it is a remote sensing satellite which can help and have applications with various things, right? So we are going to see what are the important features of the satellite, what applications it has, and how it can benefit our country, right? Let's start. So अगर हम निसार सैटेलाइट की बात करें, the first thing, as I mentioned, is it has been developed by both USA and ISRO, India, and their space and agency NASA and ISRO. It is a satellite which is being launched near the polar orbit. As you can see in this picture, this is the polar orbit, and which is basically, it revolves in the polar region, which you can see, right? Poles को revolve करती है, and कहीं ना कहीं आप देखेंगे, because Earth rotates in some time. Earth daily rotate करता है, and this satellites, because it covers the polar region, तो इसको कुछ दिन लगते हैं पूरे Earth की mapping करने में. That's why इसकी जो खास बात है, it can map the entire Earth in 12 days, right? So जैसे एक और इंटरेस्टिंग बात इसमें बोला गया कि इट वर्क्स ऑन द बोथ एल बैंड एंड एस बैंड रेडार टेक्नोलॉजी. बेसिकली दो टेक्नोलॉजीज में यूज की गई, एल बैंड का और एस बैंड का, विच इम्प्रूव्स इट्स एफिशिएंसी ऑफ कैप्चरिंग द इमेज, राइट? इसीलिए इसकी जो एफिशिएंसी है और जो प्रिसीजन है इमेज कैप्चर करने का, वो ज्यादा हो जाता है. दिस एल बैंड एंड एस बैंड आर नथिंग बट द वेवलेंथ्स ऑफ द माइक्रोवेव्स. बेसिकली इस माइक्रोवेव्स का ज्यादा यूज कर, इस चीज को आपको ध्यान में रखना चाहिए for your prelims examination, that this radar technology use microwaves so that they can penetrate inside the ground, the surface, right? All right. So this certainly important thing which you have to keep in mind. इसके अलावा अगर हम इसके applications के बारे में बात करें, so as I mentioned, it can penetrate also into the clouds. ये clouds के अगर किसी मान लीजिए किसी दिन weather खराब होने की वजह से clouds में देखने मिलते हैं, it can also penetrate under the clouds, and it can map the surface. So this is a significant thing which is there in this. Apart from that, as I mentioned, it is going to help us to study the Earth's surface in a better manner. It is going to have application in various things such as agriculture, right? Agriculture में अगर देखें, to analyze the moisture in the atmosphere, to see the crop production, or analyzing the favorable condition of a soil. So it is going to help in this manner in agriculture production. Apart from that, a very significant application of this is managing the natural disaster. जैसा कि आप इस इंटरव्यू में देख सकते हैं, the chief of the ISRO is saying that it can also monitor the tectonic movements. आपको पता होगा कि the surface of the earth is divided into certain tectonic plates, and because of the movements of this tectonic plates we see phenomena like earthquakes, right? So this can also monitor the movements of those tectonic plates, and we can better predict the earthquakes. आपको पता है कि आजकल के समय में earthquake is also a natural disaster which is very frequent happening in many of the areas because of the tectonic movements, and India is also a vulnerable country. India क्यों vulnerable है? इसलिए vulnerable है because if we see the map of India, you will see that this is the Himalayan region here, and here it is the confluence zone of the Eurasian plate and the Indo-Australian plate. So just because this is a converging plate, और यहाँ पे जो earthquake के factors है वो थोड़े ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं, right? Which we have to that's why we have to better prepare for the earthquakes in the near future, right? I hope आपको ये चीज़ समझ में आया होगा. Apart from that, it can also help us to better take a climate change. How? Basically, हम इसके through जो glaciers का melting है या फिर ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशंस है, कितना चल रहा है, किस जगहों पे ज़्यादा चल रहा है, या फिर उनका इम्पैक्ट कितना पड़ता है हमारे हिमालयन ग्लेशियर्स पे, राइट? All these things can be tracked through this satellite, and then definitely we can better formulate the policies looking at this scenario. So these are certain application of the satellites, and definitely आपको पता होगा prelims examination में they ask question related to the applications of these technologies which are emerging. So this is the thing. I hope आपको ये article भी समझ में आया होगा. This can be an important topic for your prelims as well as your mains examination. And with that, let's move forward and see the next news. All right, this news is really interesting, and this article appeared in Indian Express, which is talking about the recent Delhi High Court judgment. Basically, the Delhi High Court के सामने केस आया था जिसमें a person was alleged, by doing exploitation of the children, and a new concept has emerged, which is known as the virtual touch. आपको पता होगा that some people are involved in child sexual activities, but those things were related to the physical touch which used to happen, right? And there are certain acts related to them, such as POSCO Act, right? The protection of child from sexual offences. But a new kind of concept is emerging because of the emergence of cyberspace. Cyberspace की वजह से आपको पता होगा that internet is also a potential arena where the exploitation of the child, the youth population can happen, and this is already happening. आपको पता होगा internet can be used as a platform, especially the social media platform, where the citizens, especially the children, they become vulnerable towards all of the activities of relationships and all those things. इन सभी चीज़ों की वजह से आपको पता होगा आजकल के समय पे जो सोशल मीडिया पर इस तरीके के क्राइम्स हैं वो बढ़ रहे हैं, एंड दैट्स व्हाई दिस कंसेप्ट हैज बीन हाईलाइटेड बाय द दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट जजमेंट. इस आर्टिकल में ये बात किया गया कि देयर वर सर्टेन थिंग्स which were left and the judgment haven't taken care of, जो कि हम समझेंगे, and this is going to give you a really beautiful insight about the things which are emerging related to this field. Right, we already mentioned about the virtual touch, which can happen on the cyberspace when there are digital interactions which happen, right? We know that there is no physical contact in, but definitely conversations happen, the thoughts are being exchanged, and there that becomes a potential site of exploitation of the children, especially the girl child. All right, so इस आर्टिकल में बात किया गया है that सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक गार्डियन सेंट्रिक अप्रोच के बारे में बात किया है कि गार्डियंस को थोड़ा सा टेक केयर करना चाहिए इन सभी चीज़ों को लेके. बट राइटर ये पॉइंट आउट करते हैं कि इंडिया जैसी सोसाइटी में जहाँ पे वी आर वेरी मच रिलक्टेंट टू टॉक अबाउट ऑल दिस थिंग्स इन एन ओपन मैनर, वहाँ पे कैसे गार्डियन सेंट्रिक अप्रोच हो सकता है जहाँ पे जो पेरेंट्स हैं और जो बच्चे हैं वो ओपनली इन चीज़ों के बारे में बात ही नहीं करना चाहते, राइट? राइटर बताते हैं कि पीयर्स का जो ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट रोल हो जाता है इसके अंदर. जो लोग हैं, जो हमारे फ्रेंड सर्कल होता है या फिर पीपल विद whom we are interacting in schools and colleges, उनका रोल कहीं ना कहीं इसमें ज़्यादा है. दे हैव इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल बिकॉज उनके साथ हम ये सब बातें कर सकते हैं एंड ऑब्वियसली विच इज़ अ बैड थिंग। कहीं ना कहीं ये चीज़ें हम हमारे पेरेंट्स के साथ हमारी फैमिली में ओपनली होना चाहिए था, बट ऐसा नहीं होता है, इसलिए पीयर्स का रोल इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है। राइट, ये भी बात कर रहे हैं द टीन एज, जो जिस एज में ये चीज़ें ज़्यादा होता है, दैट इज एन एज वेयर द रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी इज हाई। Right, the children is experiencing new things, right? There are also certain physical, hormonal and emotional changes which are happening, और इसकी वजह से they want to explore, they want to engage in these things more, कहीं ना कहीं वो ज़्यादा इन चीज़ों में participate करते हैं, obviously because of emotional and biological needs। जो एज होती है हमारी फ्रॉम 15 टू 23, और जिसमें हम टीनेज में होते हैं बेसिकली। सो इस एज में चिल्ड्रन जो है ज़्यादा वल्नरेबल हो जाते हैं, बिकॉज दे देयर इज टेकिंग कैपेसिटी मोर, इवन दो दे नो द हार्मफुल थिंग्स रिलेटेड टू, बट स्टिल दे आर एंगेज्ड इन दिस थिंग। ऑब्वियसली हम सबको ये चीज़ें पता होगा, वी ऑल हैव गॉन थ्रू दिस जनरेशन। सो द थिंग इज दैट ये भी बात करते हैं कि ये जो थ्रेड्स हैं आजकल के समय पे, जो बेसिकली इसको करते हैं, दे यूज अ काइंड ऑफ कैरेट एंड स्टिक स्ट्रैटेजी, जिसमें फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दे गिव अ काइंड ऑफ अट्रैक्टिव थिंग्स सच एज a relationship of or providing certain benefits such as increasing followers on social media, or monetary benefit, these kind of things, and kahin na kahin after that there is a bigger harm which can emerge, right? So these kind of things, obviously we see certain things related to the when certain elements of, especially of the girls, gets viral on the internet, and this leads to problematic things related to it. So राइटर ये बात करते हैं कि जो सोशल स्टिग्मा है इन चीज़ों को लेके, हम सभी को पता है, if any uneven things come on the television in our family, even ad related to condom, we become a bit unconscious, we become uncomfortable related to this, because कहीं ना कहीं हमारा जो कल्चर है इन चीज़ों को स्टिग्मेटाइज करता है इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में बात करने से, which is and definitely which is a natural thing, वो कहीं ना कहीं होना ही है, बट उसके बारे में बिकॉज हम बात नहीं करते, that makes the children more vulnerable related to these threats, right? These are certain concerning things in our society. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट राइटर ये भी बताते हैं कि कुछ एक्ट्स हैं जैसे कि पॉस्को, दे डू नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज द नेचुरल एलिमेंट रिलेटेड टू दीज थिंग्स। कहीं ना कहीं ये चीज़ें जो है वो बहुत नेचुरल है, एंड डायरेक्टली काइंड ऑफ डिक्रिमिनलाइज और स्टिग्मेटाइज दीज बिहेवियर्स, जो कि नहीं होना चाहिए। बेसिकली वी शुड नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द साइकी ऑफ अ टीनेजर, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली वी हैव टू build the policies, right? This is the approach which should be followed. Apart from that, there is a vagueness in the definition of the virtual touch which can happen on the cyber, because of what there can be multiple things which can happen. There can be phishing activities, जिसमें spam emails भेजा, there can be exploitation which can happen through on the social media, by honey trapping, or those kind of things. So एक proper definition of which is obviously a complex issue होना चाहिए, ताकि हम better tackle कर सकें इन चीज़ों को, we can better formulate the policies related to it, right? So this was the thing. I hope आपको समझ में आया होगा ये वाला चीज़, what are the challenges related to it. Now let's see what things can be done, and from the challenges definitely you can come with a solution. As we have mentioned that there is a kind of social stigma which is there. There is a need of an open environment between parents and the children. They need to change their perception about talking these things openly in their families. अगर इन चीज़ों के बारे में ज़्यादा बात किया जाएगा families में, then definitely children's ज़्यादा, and also parents ज़्यादा reluctant नहीं होंगे चीज़ों के बारे में बात करने में, and फिर जो गलत sources से हम इन चीज़ों में information gain करते हैं, वो होना थोड़ा कम हो जाएगा, right? A behavioral change is the most important thing. As I mentioned, कि सोसाइटी में एक बिहेवियर चेंज की जरूरत है, so that we should start accepting these behaviors, these values in a normal way. हमें कहीं ना कहीं इनको स्टिग्मेटाइज नहीं करना चाहिए, राइट? सो हमें ये समझना चाहिए कि ये चीज़ें नेचुरल होती हैं, एंड दिस हैपेंस बिकॉज ऑफ द सर्टेन फिजिकल, इमोशनल, बायोलॉजिकल चेंजेस which happens in a teenage bodies, right? At the same time, awareness campaigns can be launched, and it can also become a part of the education curriculum, so that students can learn about these things through their teachers in their classrooms, and that way they can definitely better prepared for these things if they face these kind of scenarios. राइट. आई होप आपको ये आर्टिकल भी समझ में आया होगा. एंड विद दैट लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड सी द नेक्स्ट न्यूज़. ऑलराइट, इस आर्टिकल में बताया गया है कि a kind of regulatory sandbox policy is important related to the effects of the harmful effects of the artificial intelligence which are emerging. Basically हमें पता है कि artificial intelligence अभी present times में is a technology which has applications in various fields such as healthcare, such as financial arena, such as banking, such as education sector, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड मोबिलिटी. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का एप्लीकेशन हर एक जगह है, राइट. बट देयर ऑल्सो certain consequences, the negative consequences which can emerge related to artificial intelligence. So एक concept के बारे में बात करेंगे, regulatory sandbox. ये क्या है? It is nothing but implementing this artificial intelligence technology in a regulatory environment. कहीं ना कहीं इसमें बोला जा रहा है कि एक छोटे स्पेसिफिक एरिया में पहले इसको लॉन्च करना चाहिए, नॉट इन द इंटायर कंट्री, एंड सी व्हाट आर दी harmful things which are emerging, what kind of consequences or effects it have on the population, right. इसीलिए इसको बात किया गया रेगुलेटरी सैंडबॉक्स, और वहां पे देखा जाए, एनालाइज किया जाए कि व्हाट इज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ इट, राइट. Or then accordingly if there are certain negative things which can emerge after the analysis, we can cure those things and then we can implement in the larger arena, right. इस चीज के बारे में इस आर्टिकल में हाईलाइट किया गया. सो दिस टर्म कैन बी आस्क्ड इन योर prelims examination, that regulatory sandbox often seen in news, ये किस चीज से रिलेटेड है, क्या चीज हमें हमें बताता है, राइट. So basically it is nothing but a safe environment, a regulatory environment where a technology is being implemented in order to analyze what is going to be its harmful effects or advantages, right. So this was the thing. I hope आपको ये चीज समझ में आया होगा. And the next article which you can see on the screen is talking about the linkage between the heat waves and the climate change. Many of the leaders in the world, they say that climate change is not a reality. वो बोलते हैं climate change it's a kind of a hype which is emerging and कहीं ना कहीं impact करता है हमारी economic development को. For example, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प ने पेरिस एग्रीमेंट से यूएसए को बाहर निकाल दिया. क्यों निकाला? ये बोलकर कि इट इज जस्ट अ मिथ एंड इट इज इम्पैक्टिंग यूएस इंटरेस्ट, राइट. कहीं ना कहीं जो यूएस के डेवलपमेंट गोल्स हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं इससे हर्ट हो रहे हैं, एंड वी डोंट केयर अबाउट एनीथिंग रिलेटेड टू क्लाइमेट चेंज, राइट. बट एंड आई मेंशन, बहुत सारी ऐसी रिपोर्ट्स आ रही हैं जो दिखाती हैं हमें दैट देयर इज अ लिंकेज बिटवीन द इंक्रीज इन द डिजास्टर्स व्हिच आर इमर्जिंग एंड द क्लाइमेट चेंज. जैसे कि हमने कहीं ना कहीं आईपीसीसी की 6th असेसमेंट रिपोर्ट में देखा है that how the increasing greenhouse emissions is affecting is leading to increase in extreme weather events, right. Extreme weather events, increase in uneven rainfall pattern. And this study which has happened recently is talking about the rising heat waves in India because of climate change. आपको पता होगा कि आईएमडी का इस पर रिपोर्ट आया दैट इंडिया में इस साल हीट वेव जो है बढ़ने वाली है, एंड विच इज ऑलरेडी बीन विजिबल. यू कैन सी दिस डेटा इन द फ्रंट विच इज टॉकिंग अबाउट कि अलग अलग स्टेट्स में कितने हीट वेव्स हुए हैं. इफ यू विल कंपेयर इट विद 2020, यू कैन सी दैट 2020 में हीट वेव्स का नंबर बढ़ गया है, और इस साल तो हीट वेव्स और ज्यादा बढ़ने वाला है, राइट, और ज्यादा बढ़ रहा है. सो दिस शोज द इंटेंसिटी ऑफ राइजिंग हीट वेव्स इन आवर कंट्री. So seeing that thing, just wait for a second. So this article is breaking the myth related to those leaders who do not accept the rising impact of climate change on our environment and also on our population. So definitely you can use this article, use this idea in your answers. और ये भी बताता है that what are the harmful impact of the heat waves on the population. एनसीआरबी का ये डेटा था that almost 730 deaths हुआ 2020 में इंडिया में because of the heat waves, right. And apart from that, there are various kind of diseases which can happen. Like dehydration is a very common problem. There are certain cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease which can happen because of the heat wave. That's why we have to better prepare for this natural disaster, and also government and the bureaucrats which are responsible, especially in the region which are more vulnerable, such as the northern part of a country. सब बोला जा रहा है नॉर्थन पार्ट में हीट वेव्स जो है वो बढ़ रहे हैं इस बार, और इस साल ज़्यादा होने वाला है. वी हैव टू बेटर फॉर्मुलेट द पॉलिसी इन ऑर्डर टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम. और हीट वेव का जो टॉपिक है हमने अपने प्रीवियस कुछ वीडियोज में काफ़ी बार कवर किया है. यू कैन जस्ट scroll through the playlist and you will see the thumbnail. There you can watch that video, and you can learn about the heat wave topic. दोबारा एक ही चीज़ को कवर करना, I think it's not a viable thing, and बहुत सारे बच्चे उनके लिए बार बार रिपीट होगा, so that is going to be a bad thing, right? So आप उन वीडियोस को देख सकते हैं, उसमें आपको बहुत सारे कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स भी मिल जाएंगे which can be important for your mains examination, and definitely I have covered lot of important ideas which you can use in your mains answer writing, right? So with that we have reached to the end of the discussion. I hope आपको आज का जो discussion है वो अच्छा लगा होगा. If you liked it, you can definitely like this video, and you can also share this with your friends. You can also subscribe to the channel of Plutus IAS, and thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow.